Before I begin today's adventure in cigar box projects, I need to do a quick disclaimer. My son, who's been filming and editing and publishing my videos for about 10 years, is off to Australia for 10 months. So it's all down to me to do. So the production quality is going to drop dramatically. Hopefully, you'll still find it entertaining and informative. So, when I started this project, I told you that it all began with my friend Benson, who made a cigar box ukulele. And he's going to be joining us at parts, and we're going to go over how I make this. So let's go over what you're going to need to make one of these. We'll start with the main parts. You're going to need the neck. You're going to need the fretboard. You're going to need the tuners, and you're going to need the saddle. As you can see, I did all this on eBay, and the parts are pretty cheap. The only thing we haven't talked about is the most important part, the cigar box. So take it away, Benson.
Some basics on picking a cigar box for a cigar box ukulele. One is you got to find one that's long enough. So this one is just about 8 inches. This is like bare minimum. I mean, you really want to try to find one that's 9 inches or a little bigger for a soprano. 8-inch will work. This will work. But the problem with that is that you're going to end up with a ukulele that's very much like this. Let me show you. See the saddle and the bridge right here? See how close it is to the bottom of the uke? So this is going to make it a little bit more difficult to play because your arm might end up resting on the string, which doesn't make it very comfortable to play with. But it does make a very small ukulele, which is great for like traveling and putting in your backpack and stuff. So this can work, which is about 8 inches, which is almost exactly same size as this one. But a slightly taller box, like a 9-inch or even bigger, like this one is closer to 10-inch, it's definitely nicer. You've got a lot more, see, it has a whole lot more space, almost 2.5 inch worth of space between that saddle and the bottom of the uke. So when you put your arm on it, it doesn't rub the strings. So this is a great size. So the width is not that critical. The depth, obviously, the deeper it is, the better. The more volume you have, the more sound you're going to get out of it. And but one of the other things that to look for is that this one is a solid wood top. So this box is actually made out of solid wood, versus this one here, versus this one, this Arturo Fronte cigar box. It's made out of plywood, which is not bad. It's not awful, but the solid wood does sound better. We are going to determine where that bone piece is going to be glued up, so we're going to mark that first. And we're going to notice that there's a little bit of a gap between the fretboard and the neck. And we're going to mark that, and we're going to remove that wood from both sides so that it's a perfect fit, because we're not going to put binding on each side of the fretboard, so it's going to be flush. So we're just going to, next step, we're going to just mark that, and we're going to sand that or scrape that off, clean it up before we attach the neck to the box.
Now that your neck is all sanded and ready, it's time to attach it to the box. And now you're going to need to get some green painter's tape. Now, the reason you're going to use the green tape is you're going to start putting marks all over your cigar box, and you don't want, when you peel off the tape, to rip off all the beautiful labels.
Now that we have the center line on the front of the box, and we're going to extend that line to the back of the box. That's there. And we're going to find the center of the neck, but on the back end. We're going to match that. Find a nice flat surface to put the box on. Line that up. Now some of these pre-made necks are not squared off properly from factory, so you may have to square it off yourself with a sander, belt sander, or even by hand on sandpaper. So match that up so that there's the 2 points meet on the box and on the neck. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to hold that in place. Now I'm going to draw where the neck's going to be on the box. it's not a whole lot of area, so we're going to do 3 holes. We're going to put 1 hole here, and 1 hole here, and 1 hole here. So sort of dividing up this space into a nice even triangle there. And we're going to drill 3 holes there. And by doing that, we can attach it by using glue and screw. The reason I do that is because this is not an actual ukulele body, it's just a box. It may not be squared up. With the screws, we can control how this is going to line up. So we want to make sure it's perfectly flat from the neck to the body, and make sure that it doesn't pivot left and right. So this way, with the 3 screws, we could control that as we gluing it up. So I didn't tighten the screws 100%, it's kind of sort of 90% tightened, 90, 95. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close it up, flip it around, and see if it's flat. So it looks like it's not. It looks like I need to tighten the bottom screw more. We'll check that again.
Almost too much now.
Oh, too much. So I'm going to tighten up the top screw a little bit. Let's see how that helps.
Now it's time to attach the saddle, which is the most critical part of this whole project. If the saddle is not perfect, the ukulele will not play well. So here we'll go for a quick class in mathematics, because music is math, and the distance between here and here, exactly halfway, is your 12th fret. You count down 12 frets, and that 12th fret line is the exact center. So you measure from here to the 12th, and then that same measurement is exactly where the bridge is going to go. And you mark it up, you square it off, you get it all lined up, and then you're going to trace around the bridge, around the saddle, and then clean off all the finish below it so that you have a surface to glue it onto, and then you glue it on. A couple things I learned and changed in my methodologies was the glue failed and was very difficult to deal with, so I now just screw it in and cover the screws with little decorative beads. And I also, since I've installed my tuners, I put the 2 strings on the tuner and run it down to the saddle and over the bridge, so I can make sure that they're going to line up perfectly on the ukulele neck. Okay, everybody, this video has gone on way too long, and if you've made it this far, I'm both impressed and flattered, and I hope you found it informative. I ended up skipping a lot of sections like drilling the sound holes, installing the tuners, the polishing of the neck, the sealing this all up. But the bottom line is we got you all the way through to putting on the saddle, and once that's done, string it up and start having some fun. A big thank you to Benson, who spent his weekends with me teaching me how to make these. It's about an 8-hour project beginning to end, so, spread it out over a couple days. So, thank you again for joining us. I hope I see you next month for my next Cigar Box video. And now we're going to wrap up with my son, who played the ukulele for just a little bit before hopping on a plane. Thank you so much. See you around.
Okay. If you like what you hear, subscribe to my channel. You won't hear anything about it there.